Greetings, I'm Steve Cook, and here's your recap for the September 13th, 2022 board meeting. We started at 5:30, we got out at 7:30, we had a lot packed into 2 hours. The first thing I want to share is the Champion for Students celebration. What a great opportunity. We have two of our custodial staff, Michelle Firk, who is at Bear Creek Elementary School, and Tom Meyer, who is at Amity Creek Elementary School, and who also works in the Ed Center. They were our champion for students, and we had a great opportunity to celebrate them and their hard work and their dedication. Rob Johnson was here, their supervisor, and Lisa Burke was here, and Brian Ubaez were here to celebrate Michelle. Just a great opportunity. And a little side note, those two got engaged to each other this summer, and so it was a kind of a fun celebration to show the picture of their engagement as we were sharing and celebrating them. We're glad they are on our team, and we were having a lot of fun with them. They're our champions for students this month. Consent agenda passed with no action. With no questions. All things passed. The first report we had today was from our Chief Financial Officer, Brad Henry, who shared an enrollment update with the board. I can generally tell you that we're right at projections as an overall number. We're right at about that 17,500 student number. Of particular interest, we have some schools that saw some ebb and flow. We have some grade levels that have seen some growth, and we have some that have seen that we're just a little low in. We still are lower than expected or projected in kindergarten and first grade, and we're generally up in middle school and generally up in high school. And so over the next couple of weeks, we expect some of that to kind of stabilize. We believe we'll get a few more kindergartners, a few more first graders, and we will start to see some of the names that are on rosters at the secondary schools. We'll start to get those cleared out. And so overall, I think as far as budget goes, we're about where we were projected. And shout out to Brad for nailing that kind of estimate once again. And so I appreciate his efforts on that. Second presentation we had with the board was the professional development opportunities that we had this summer. And I'm not going to be able to capture all of them, but lots and lots of professional development, foundational skills, really great reading for our elementary teachers, the equitable grading work that we're continuing, the conference that went on at Pacific Crest this year, so much work, Bettina Love and Dr. Jonathan Rosa, lots and lots of Rick Wormelli presenting to our staff. The work we're doing in reunification and safety training across the district, just dozens of training, professional development opportunities for administrators and staff across the district. Shout out to all of the folks that participated. And as we began school this year, feeling a little familiar in that, getting people trained up in skills and just excited about that conversation again. And that was a fantastic presentation that we had for our board. The next presentation we had was we have to go out for modification on the board zones as a response to precinct realignment that happened in 2020 from the census. Deschutes County just completed those reassignments of those precincts last year late last year, and so now it's time for board zones to then align to those precincts, which means that board zones. We have 5 board zones in our school district boundaries. As you know, we have 7 board members. 5 come from one from each of those 5 zones, and 2 of them are at large. And so we have to adjust those zones in accordance with those precincts changes, and you try to balance the number of voters, if you will, and people in each of those zones, and you try to also make sure that your existing board members maintain their status in those zones while still balancing those numbers. And so we presented the board with 2 options for how those changes could be presented, and those 2 options are now out for public review and feedback. The maps and all the details for each of those are out. And you also want to make sure try to distribute your schools in those zones as equitably as you can, so you have good distribution of elementary, middle, and high schools across each of those 5 zones. And so that's out now for public review and feedback. Anybody that's interested, we'd love to get your comments, your thoughts on the growth and development as our community and district, and how those zones might modify over time. Those new zones, if adopted, will be in place for about the next 10 years. So. Then we had the chair report from Chair Barnes-Delakia. She mentioned the welcome back process that we did with all of our staff, and that talked about all the board members visiting schools and being there for the opening of school and connecting with kids. Lots of excitement across the district in that process. She also talked a little bit about the board retreat, where we are working with the board to make sure that board goals are in alignment with our strategic initiatives and the data that we're going to be collecting to ensure that we're demonstrating the commitment to those initiatives and those goals are being collected, and we're getting ready to start having that tied up, and we look for some more information on that next month. Also, we're starting our student voice work with trying to capture ways that students can have direct input to board members, and how that committee is going to be established. We're going to be partnering. We have 3 board members that have agreed to be a part of that subcommittee. Marcus LeGrand, Shirley Olson, and Carrie McPherson Douglas are going to help the district, help me to find what's the best committee work that students across the district could have voice and opportunity to connect directly with the board and help provide feedback and input on how the board governs and how we work to meet the goals of the district. And so it's an exciting opportunity for students to get involved with the work of the district. And so we're starting that work together. Then we had action items. The first action item was the supplemental health curriculum. It was time to vote on whether or not that was going to be adopted. The board voted unanimously after Dean Richards and Dr. Amy Schneider, who's partnering with us on that from the county, to adopt that curricula with one slight modification. We took one piece of the curricula out based upon feedback that we got from community feedback, and we appreciate those of you who gave us quality feedback in that consideration. But that supplemental health curriculum with a slight modification is now adopted. The second action item that was addressed tonight was the Welcoming Week proclamation. Chair Barnes-Delakia invited Marcus LeGrand, our vice chair, invited the board to share in the Welcoming Week proclamation that supports the idea that September 9th through 18th is Welcoming Week, to establish that we want all of our schools to feel like the welcoming and environments that we desire for them, and we want every student and every staff member to feel like they belong in our school communities. The third action item was OSBA, the Oregon School Boards Association, is requesting for local boards to submit nominees to run for the state school board OSBA organization leadership positions. Currently, Patty Norris serves in that, and since no one from our board was interested in running for the office of chair of the OSBA organization, the board is in support of maintaining Patty in that role, Patty Norris in that role, serving as OSBA. And then the last action item of the night, you may or may not know this, but Zone 7 position is now open and available from the board. We had a board member resign their position. Board member Yanette Soraya Ronde Gonzalez resigned her position effective September 10th. As she is moving out of the area, and the board has to take action to declare that vacancy, officially declare that vacancy. The board took that position tonight. That vacancy is now open, and the board also approved the process for which the approval of a replacement, new board member for Zone 5, at large. Zone 7 position would be appointed, and that process will be in a press announcement that will go out Wednesday. And I just want to thank Yurande Sarai Gonzalez for her service, and thank her for for her hard work that she's put in to helping our schools be more effective. And so look for that press release on Wednesday. We will have that out, and if you know folks that might be interested in serving in this capacity, it's a volunteer position, and it's as you might know, we do a lot of hard things and a lot of important work. But we do need another board member to fill out that position. And then a lot of policies that the board is under review, and that the administrative regulations that are under review. Quite simply, I'll just tell you that we took our complaint processes and we separated them into specific individual policies. One on, let me see if I can read this through thoroughly for you. Non-discrimination, workplace harassment, sexual harassment, suspected sexual conduct with students and reporting requirements, suspected abuse of a child reporting requirements, hazing, harassment, intimidation, bullying, menacing, cyberbullying, teen dating violence, or domestic violence. All of those now previously they were in one policy, all combined together, and we are recommending that we separate each of those, and the board is seeking public input on the board policies, and the administrative staff is seeking public input on administrative regulations for those policies. And so we look forward to getting that feedback from you. Not a lot of new language, just separating them into policies. And we adjourned at 7:30, and that's it. There were no board comments at the end, and that's it. And so that's it for your board recap. September 13th, September board meeting. I'm Steve Cook. Thanks for tuning in.